What's up, guys? Carl Choi, Collecting of Carl. I'm here. This is a continuation. This is episode 2 of 2 with a very special guest. And, it's special because of how he collects. A lot of folks collect, for a certain reason in the story, the art. But for him, there's this kind of sixth sense in what he goes after. A lot of times you don't expect it till you see it. So part one was all about the music and art. And this one is the other half, which is really kind of something for us to think about is, do you ever think about how a comic character become a comic character? Because every piece of artwork, every character in toys, every movie, there is something behind it that you may not see. So in a weird way, maybe George just loves collecting stuff that you don't really see. So what's up, George?
That sounds like the most backwards way to collect, but I love it.
No, it's great. It's interesting. Character design for toys is such a specific thing to collect. Like, where did this thing come from?
Character designs, redesigns, concept art. So it's the creation of a character or a new costume that's in books. It's designs for the toys or action figures that we've seen out there. All the above. But I think it really started, I don't know if you remember, for anyone that grew up in the 90s reading Wizard magazine, there were all the kind of how to draw articles in there. I think Greg Capullo did some of them. Bart Sears did some of them. Lots of art. Yeah. But, seeing those, I would sit in my room at home as a kid and create my own characters and create my own turnarounds and design. And I think that really led to my love for drawing as I got older, and then led into design work that I did for years and still do here and there. I just love work in progress stuff. I love the behind the scenes stuff. I love seeing where the artist's thoughts came from. Some of my favorite design stuff is the notes that are on there, kind of the thoughts that went into it, ideas they're trying to get across, before it actually makes it to the book or the film or the action figure or whatever it is they're doing it for. I just think it's the coolest thing, and maybe the closest you can get to being in the room when these things are happening without actually being.
I agree. The notes are the best. I myself was heavily inspired by Bart Sears and his whole Brutes and Babes. And speaking of Bart, he's known for his powerhouse, muscular anatomy, and that 90s style really fed into the toys. And in fact, I didn't really know he did toys till he told me later, and then till I saw this piece. So kind of when you saw this, did you know that he was the guy behind it, or did you discover it coming across the piece?
I had no idea. I didn't even know this stuff existed. I think maybe like a lot of us, I just thought, someone says, hey, let's make this. And then however many months later, it's made. You don't think about, oh, someone's got to actually draw how it looks from the front, how it looks from the side, how it looks from the back. So the people making the models and the, templates or whatever they're doing can base it off that. So I had no idea Bart Sears worked on that. And did I think this whole line of toys in the 90s.
Did it all? The whole Toy Biz line?
I don't know if he did it all. I think he did that whole series. I know he did a Cable, a Maverick. There's a couple on Cap that I've seen that he did. He did a set of them. I don't know how many exactly. And I would love for one day for Marvel to put a book out, or Toy Biz to put a book out on this stuff, because I think it'd be super cool to see how all this stuff was made. And at least you and I would buy it as a Bart Sears fan and a character design fan.
Well, let's take a look at it. I mean, you have one of the best characters from the set, Wolverine himself.
Yeah, so this was for the Spy Wolverine. Some really tight pencil that have held up. This was done in '92, I believe. But just really cool design work. You get the whole turnaround. And this was sold. This was one of the first pieces I ever bought off Heritage Auctions This was sold. It was the Seamus family was selling a bunch of stuff. And I think at the time they were the owners of Wizard Magazine, I think eventually Wizard World. But they were selling stuff that was done for Wizard Magazine. I think some Wizard art, some Wizard card art. But they had a set of these Bart Sears toy designs. And this was one I actually still have the figure from when I was a kid. So I jumped at the chance to own this piece. I remember there was also the Cable figure, which I also have. But I think at the time I didn't have the money to buy both, but was very excited to land this one.
So awesome. I really love that Spy Wolverine because it always reminds me of the story arc of him, Maverick, and Sabretooth. And
Yes.
them as agents, you're just like, oh, that's dope. It's like such a badass backstory, right? And so that's a great one to get.
It made me a big fan of the Maverick character. That and some of the Uncanny Jim Lee stuff.
In fact, one of the pages I was trying to get from Adam Cuber over the pandemic was like a huge cover of Wolverine and Maverick.
Oh,
and
man.
I couldn't pull a trigger on it. At the time, it was just like way outside of my I guess my like ability to like spend that much money on something, I guess the sickness didn't really take over yet. So I was like, oh, I can't do it. But now I kind of regret it because it was actually pretty reasonable. And then back to your Wolverine, the Spy Wolverine, I just thought that's like a really good example of a contained Bart Sears. Because, it's really tight. It's still Bart Sears, but it feels like a corporatized version of that, like a lot more discipline in the lines and symmetry and all that. So I thought that was really, really cool example. Now, speaking of another person that you don't think as like a corporate person, because yes, he had a lot of time, at Marvel and whatnot. But for me, in my exposure with him, it was, everyone knows his work on Iron Man, but for me, it was more like Valiant work, right? And so when I started seeing his stuff, it was like X-O Man of War, etc. And you have a really cool example from Secret Wars. I mean, Kang, back in 1984, that's huge because Bob Layton is the definitive Iron Man artist, and he went and did a design for Kang.
Yeah, this was also something I didn't know existed, and had no idea that Bob Layton did these toy designs. And also, this is another one I have my Kang figure. I think I also had the Wolverine from this set. So was thrilled to find this. My understanding is he did designs for the set. I've been told there's an Iron Man design by Bob that someone has that's out there somewhere. And Bob said the rest maybe, were just discarded. Nobody thought to keep them at the time. But if they are out there, I'd love to learn of them and at least see them. But was thrilled to find this design. Just thought it was super cool. It's, you can see like the pinholes. I think there's some like, somebody wrote Bob Layton on the back. I don't know if Bob did that or maybe the previous owner to remember who did it. But just thought it was cool. It's, you can see this, it's been in the sun, but the pencils are still really nice. Just cool piece from Layton that I had no idea existed.
Yeah, those are some tight pencils from Layton, and I love the paper because, that thing's 40 years old. I came to America in 1986, so it was created before I came to America. So it's pretty cool in itself, and I do feel like when you show us all these like pinholes and whatnot, there's a huge difference of holding the art in hand and the scans. Like scans never do the art justice.
Yeah,
I do feel like when you look at that, you in essence are experiencing what Bob was experiencing on paper. And I think that's why we love what we collect, especially something that's outside of scope of what we know him for, right?
Yeah, and it was really cool to see after I posted this. I don't know if somebody sent it to Bob or Bob saw it, but he actually reposted it, kind of reminiscing about it. So it was cool to get that, additional validation from the artist himself, and kind of the excitement of seeing something he drew 40 years ago that probably forgot what it looked like.
Yeah, no. In fact, speaking of guys who you wouldn't expect to see a piece from character design, is this artist. He's famous for his big, bold, animated superhero style, and then through this you could kind of see him going from design to comic cover to action figure. So yeah, what do you love seeing in your next piece by Mr. Ed McGuinness as he travels through all the phases?
Ed is one of my favorite modern artists. Ed does a lot of character designs, character redesigns, and he's one of my favorites because he also adds the notes. And I think he does it because he sends them to editors, he sends them to the writers, so they can also see his ideas maybe beyond just the figures and the faces. But this one is a character design for Hallows Eve, which was a new, I don't know if I'd call her a villain. She's kind of a villain in the Amazing Spider-Man universe. But just, I thought, really fun design. She's got these masks, and she basically takes on the characteristics of whatever the mask is. So she's got like a devil, a ghost, zombie, Dracula, and kind of takes on the characteristics of whatever the mask is. Just some really cool notes, really cool drawings. He added some fun lettering that I thought was pretty sweet as well. And as a bonus, this ended up being a variant cover. I love that Marvel has been doing design variants, kind of highlighting designs from artists. It's kind of validating and also really cool to just see them sharing. It makes me feel like other people also enjoy it if Marvel's doing those variant covers. And just thought really cool, fun design.
Yeah, not just Marvel. I think DC, like Nick Dragata, has been doing a lot of these absolute in design, and this one particularly reminds me of one of those because I wonder if they're briefed on that, if they're told like, "Hey, this could be a cover," or is it just a certain style?
I don't know if Ed is, because I've asked him about stuff, and he's like, "I just found out they turned it into a cover." Which is really cool. It doesn't always help the price of what the design is going to be. Usually, it doesn't. But sometimes they'll also, you can see it's landscape, so they'll kind of take it and make it that vertical layout by kind of moving elements into spaces. So I don't think he's specifically doing it for a cover, although he may be doing them a little tighter now because he knows it might be a cover. But yeah, I was thrilled to pick up this one and feel lucky to have picked up other pieces from Ed for redesigns that he's done, and designs for new characters is always really cool to be able to find.
Yeah, I had no idea he contributes so much to all these designs. So it's kind of cool to kind of dig into your gallery and see what else Ed's been up to. So there was one piece on your collection on design that we really connected on, because it's almost like it was on Quan's site, and I think we looked at it and we talked about it. And as a preview, I don't own a lot of toys, but this one I do.
Yes.
It's so cool.
It's such a cool design. It's such a cool mashup. Was stoked when they made the toy. I was like, they got to make a toy out of this.
You sent this to me too. I think you sent it to me, and then I bought it right away. I did not even hesitate. But yeah, maybe give the audience something. We know the story, but give some context as to why Spider-Man has a tail.
Yeah, I guess I don't need a spoiler at this point. But this is basically Nightcrawler wearing a version of the Spider-Man suit. So this was for the Uncanny Spider-Man Ligerbet art. Really cool design. There's some really cool textures, I feel like, that we're seeing artists get these days. But another one, I just thought the design was awesome when Lee shared it. He did a few versions. There was like more of a black suit Spider-Man version. And I think even another version at one point as well. But this was the final version that Lee did. This was also used for a variant cover, I think, for issue 2. But just another cool design, man. And Lee's done some really cool designs. I know they did a new character on the latest Daredevil book, and I think he did a design for Daredevil's suit that I would love to see at some point, and several other character redesigns that he's done. I think there was like a Rhino character in this book, and a Vulture variation of Vulture as well. Yeah,
Vulture was cool. He did a really good job on the Vulture. I do feel like Lee. I'm so happy for him with Daredevil and all the momentum that's there. But
Yeah.
I agree with you. Like Uncanny Spider-Man was one of my favorite versions of the Spider-Man, because it's really funny because you think about it, and I think they did a really good job of writing the story into it. There's a lot of similarities between how Nightcrawler and Spider-Man and Peter Parker behaves in just the way they bounce around, and they
Oh yeah.
use teleportation, and even just the comments they make. So it was almost kind of cool, match made in heaven in the way they combine those, two worlds together. I wish they set it up a little bit better. I felt like it was kind of just just happened,
Yeah.
and because it kind of happened, it felt a little gimmicky. But if they were to kind of bring that idea back with a good setup, I think it could last. I think people would be like, oh, that's a freaking awesome idea. Kind of realm and timeline of Lee, Ryan Otley is now, really blowing up through Invincible. And you have a piece from him doing character design, which, outside of Invincible, I haven't seen before. So that was kind of cool. Like, what do you see in this kind of early work from him that may have hinted on where he was going to end up?
Yeah, it felt like so this was for Haunt. This was from 2009. I have there's 3 different design sheets that he did, and McFarlane did some as well. But to my knowledge, all the McFarlane designs were all digital because he was inking everything digitally at the time. But this is the inked pencil and ink piece from Ryan for the Haunt. I thought that was cool. But this great headshot and then great full body shot with the costume.
Sick.
And kind of this like webbing. I don't even know what to call it, demon ooze that Haunt has. For those that don't know, this was a book that came out, I think it was 2009, 2010. It was Robert Kirkman writing. So you had the writer of The Walking Dead writing it. Greg Capullo was doing layouts on the book. Ryan Otley was doing pencils. And Todd McFarlane was digitally inking the book. So it was like kind of this super team. I felt like Otley's style, he leans into that like gore, high energy, blood and guts. Like I felt like fit perfectly. Really, just cool combination of people. This one's all Otley pencil and ink, but the book itself was layouts by Capullo, pencils by Otley, inks by McFarlane. One other cool thing about this piece is this headshot was re-inked digitally by McFarlane for the cover of issue 5, I believe, or issue 6. So just kind of cool additional story and background for what was a cool design. And this was published a few times. So also great to see it published in the preview issue. And then I think also the hardcover and one of Todd McFarlane's books as well.
It's a really good design. And it just shows that Spider-Man has been such a strong foundation for a character. Yeah. You could like slice and dice him so many different ways, and all the characters always look freaking cool.
Well, and I think this was, I don't think they ever said it, but it's like Spider-Man mixed with Spawn. So you're like getting kind of the fandom of Spider-Man with the fandom of Spawn in this all new character. I felt like that first arc, I think that team I mentioned was only on for the first arc, so the first six issues. And then it kind of, Capullo took over pencils. And then I think Nathan Fox at one point took over some of the issues. And it kind of fizzled out a little bit, but it had a really strong start. And it was cool to see Haunt pop back up in the Spawn universe a couple years ago, and like King Spawn and stuff.
Sick.
Yeah.
So sick. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a very close relationship between Spawn and Spider-Man, and so not surprised that version of Spider-Man may pop up in that way. Now, within the context of Capullo, he's like the perfect guy to kind of carry on that, and he has a very kinetic style. But another artist that has like a crazy kinetic style in comics is Sean Murphy. And I was kind of surprised that he actually went in and like designed a character as well within the Batman universe.
Sean, another one of my favorite modern artists. This was for the Batman Beyond universe. So This was done in 2013. It was the Batman Beyond 2.0 series. Kyle Higgins was the writer. Tony Silas did the art on most of it. I think Phil Hester did an issue or two. But this was a brand new character that he got to design called Rewire. I also love that Sean, he not only signs, but he dates all his pages and drawings on the day he draws it, which I think is super cool. Something I wish more artists did. Just as like a art historian and fan of the art, it's cool to know not just the year it was done, but the actual day. I think it's pretty cool. But this was the character design, some great headshots. You can see the tech in the hands of the character. And I was just a fan of this series. I don't read a ton of DC, but Batman Beyond I always thought was cool. So when I saw Sean did this, I was like, well, I need to check out this book. Fell in love with Tony Silas's work. It's got lots of similarities and just kind of sensibility to the animated series that Darwin Cook worked on, Bruce Timm worked on. But it's got that kind of animated style and flow to it. Just fun reading. Thought Sean did a really cool job. This is, years and years before his Batman White Knight stuff. So it's been cool to see him kind of go on to do some really cool things with DC Comics as well.
It's pretty cool. And then it's, again, a very disciplined, intentional design version of Sean's character. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And when you look at it, it is Sean. It's just not the way you're used to seeing him, which I really love.
Yep. That one was published in the extras of the trade. So I love when they add that stuff in the trades as well.
Yeah. I feel like all the design stuff, there's this good amount of process junkies that wants to see how it all came together. It makes me think about even, Daniel Warren Johnson recently talked about Chain Kata, which is like his book. And he basically has been working on for years on his Friday night live streams. And so if you're a fan, you're paying attention, you got to see previews of it leading up to, his announcement recently. And so I do feel like there's something about, creators that create more in public that allows folks to want to engage them more, because they're, in a way, just kind of being vulnerable, right? It's like a lot of folks don't want to show anything until it's like the perfect thing, but being open about your process, I think, is one of the most vulnerable things you could do.
And not easy to do. I'm always impressed when people can draw in front of other people or engage with people while they draw. Being able to talk while you draw is such a skill. I'm always impressed when artists are able to do that.
And so I think we have one more piece to go. And this piece is a cool character because he appeared in Magic the Gathering. Not only that, he was co-created. He was designed by the co-creator of The Walking Dead. I know we mentioned, Kirkman a few times. Was this a chase because you love the character? Was it because you love the artist, or did it just fall in your lap?
I love the artist, but this was 100% right place, right time.
Nice.
This is Tony Moore's character design for Agent Venom. So this one, Tony Moore did the art for the first few issues. No, so it was Rick Remender. Sorry. I think this even has like home office claims or something on the back. It's like printed paper, sheet of paper. Was at New York Comic Con 2013, I believe. Went to Artist Alley, set up some commissions, got some things signed, walked around, and was like, all right, I should go check out the main floor of the room, just because I've never been to New York Comic Con before. So I was walking around. Tony Moore was not on advertised as an artist being there that I knew of, but Walking Dead, I think, had just come out, or a new season was coming out. So the cast of Walking Dead was there. I don't know if that's why he was there or not, but Tony Moore had a booth in with all the like pop figures and comics, and not with the other artists. So I was walking around. I was like, oh my God, Tony Moore's here. Flip through his books. He's got this design. I ask about it. He tells me this is the piece that he drew when he was first on the phone with Rick Remender, talking about a new series, the new Agent Venom series, talking about what they wanted Agent Venom to look like. So this is Flash Thompson with Venom. You can kind of see some different forms of the Venom look here in the suit. But this is him on the phone with Rick, drawing out as they're talking the look and feel of the character. Extra special piece. Thrilled to own this. This is probably the character design that I have that I get emails about the most.
Nice.
And was also really cool to see this one published in some articles previewing the issue. And then Tony touched it up digitally. I think he added the feet and kind of cleaned up some of the features on the suit. And it was published in the back of an Amazing Spider-Man issue before the Agent Venom, the Venom book came out. So just really cool. I mean, I love Tony's work, and loved hearing about like the fact that he was on the phone with Rick Remender while he was doing it.
It's the best. And that Agent Venom was, I was exposed to that Agent Venom from Magic the Gathering. The other Venom I was exposed to was Anti-Venom.
Oh man. Yeah.
This was the character that came with the card. And so I loved it too. Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah, and I feel like, I don't know for a fact, but I feel like that Anti-Venom was definitely based off the Agent Venom look, but obviously inverted colors. And
I wonder what the story is. I don't know. I've never dove into Spider-Man, so visually they're just cool to me. But other than that, I don't really know stories. Maybe I just gotta make time to read them one day. But it's weird. I just have this thing where I don't read Spider-Man that much, and so I feel like, yeah, it's a weird thing.
Hey, there's so much of it. It's hard to keep up with all the Spider-Man stories. So I have to pick and choose myself just because I can't buy them all.
Same for Batman, right? There's like so much Batman.
100%.
Endless. I really like Night Fight. That was really good as a series. But after I think I bought like 4 or 5 issues of that, and then speaking of Kyle Higgins, he had his whole like kind of cosmic kind of Batman thing, and I was supporting that for a while, and then. Oh, wow. When Absolute came out, I was like, man, I can't keep going. It's just too many Batman. All right, so dude, George, thanks for making time to go over this side of your collection.
No, thank you, dude. Seriously, thanks for putting this together. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to see where this goes. I watched the first episode, loved seeing and learning about the card art. Excited to see what else you do, man. Who else you get on here?
Yeah, dude, I'm learning a lot too. I mean, specifically even for this. I'm kind of curious. I want to ask, like, do you feel like over the course of your collecting character designs, have you seen more people take interest? Because you mentioned on the last one that people hit you up for that piece specifically.
Yeah, it's always a double-edged sword to share this stuff, because you don't want to get people too excited because then they're going to go after it. But at the same time, I think it's good for people to be excited. One, because for years, I would talk to artists and their reaction is, I didn't know people cared about this stuff. I remember talking to Ryan Stegman 15 years ago. I can't even remember. And he's like, oh, I think I threw that away. And it's like, please don't throw that stuff away in the future. Like, people will want that. But yeah, I've definitely seen more artists sending design stuff to their reps. I think we just saw, was it Glenn? I think just sold the original character design for Hobgoblin for maybe 30. I can't remember the price, but and there was a really nice, I think from Alex Ross's collection, a really nice it's Namor's 70s suit that I think was only in maybe like 10 issues or so. Just finished at auction. So I'm seeing more of them pop up. It's really cool to see people valuing them and appreciating them, because I think they're super important pieces of art. I think super important artifacts for the characters. So I hope at a minimum, artists think to preserve them, think to save them. But I also hope to see other collectors. I've seen several on CAF and other places, but I hope to see other collectors seeking them out, finding them. Just because I'm sure you're the same way. I just love seeing this stuff. Yeah. You can't own everything. I love being able to see it, especially the things you didn't know existed. So if anyone has any more Secret Wars toy designs by Bob Layton, I would just love to see them, put them out there for the community to enjoy. Those
are super cool, because imagine back then, their tools were totally different as well. So even the way they put on paper must have been a total different process. And when a thought kind of came to mind, I wonder, as you talk about Hobgoblin design selling for 30. Do you feel like it's because there's some attribute to being a first appearance per se? Because there's a collecting practice that is actually criticized by some kind of more collectors that's been around a little longer on first appearance that kind of came from comics, obviously. I think it's okay. Collect however you want to collect, but do you feel like there's some of that in the character design that kind of creeps over as to how people are thinking about the art?
I mean, honestly, I don't know that a lot of people even know, because I didn't know for a long time that these things even exist. So I don't know that people are even thinking about character designs. But I hope the more people that are aware that they exist, I think there is a, obviously it's not the first published appearance in some cases. Some cases it is when it's getting used as a variant cover for the first appearance issue, or if it's been published in a preview, maybe that could be considered the first published appearance. Although I know there's also a division of like it's the first story moment. But I don't focus on that as much. I think there is a element of the artist or designer breathing life into the character for the first time, which I think is really cool to think about. But to me, it's more about this is like the moment, and these are the thoughts. You can see the thoughts going into the character and the design of the character and the look of the character and even some of the personality of the character, which you don't always get from a panel page. Depending on the page, you may get that or you may not. But I don't know. There's just something really special about them to me.
I agree. I mean, if you think about it, a lot of the creators behind characters are co-creators because we're in a visual medium. Yep. So the artist is a co-creator with the writer. The writer can't just be a creator without the artist contributing visually. So to be able to capture these designs in a way, I think it is kind of like their contract to co-creation, because without them designing characters, these characters don't exist. So now, with all that said, we're going to dive into the quick takes to wrap up the channel.
Awesome.
This episode. So, all right, quick takes. So, of all the design pieces, we just saw 9 of them. Which one is the one?
Ooh, man.
The capstone, crown jewel of the collection. If a fire was burning, you had to grab one and run out. Which one is that?
Well, luckily they're in a book, so I can grab the whole book. But I think, this is my figure from my childhood. So I think this one has a lot of nostalgia to it. So I'd probably pick the Spy Wolverine one.
Understandable. I would too. That's the one that sticks out to me as well. That Spy Wolverine, that whole era, that storyline was just so cool. Humanized that crew,
Oh, yeah.
Sabretooth. What's one piece you think you'll never sell?
I mean, the Tony Moore piece is pretty special. I think being able to buy it directly from Tony and to get that story firsthand from Tony at the convention, and it wasn't planned. It just felt like very happenstance, right place, right time. So that one would be really hard to let go.
Okay, that's fair. I think that's a great one. Last but not least is, and this goes a little deeper, so you could elaborate if you want, but you have a kind of unique direction in how you organize your collection in themes. So in how you've been collecting, what has collecting art in this way taught you about yourself?
Oh, man. My wife makes fun of me that I'm like a historian with stuff. Like, I want to know where it was created, the day it was created. Like, if I can have all this information, I would document it all. And I think, piggybacking off our other conversation around music, I like to catalog kind of like music video credits, nice. With like the name of the piece, the artist, the publisher, the date, like I like to have all that information from like classic music video credits. So I think if anything, it's, I like the details. I like the backstory. I feel like a lot of people in the hobby, a lot of collectors, like we love a good story. And if that story has something a personal touch to it or a nostalgic touch to it, that's something I didn't think about going in. I wasn't looking for something with a good story necessarily. I also love good art. But if you can get good art with a good story, that's really special.
Yeah, I agree. No, it's great. Thanks for sharing, man. So, George, thanks for making time for sharing your collection, and we will. I'll see you soon.
Yeah,
So,
thanks for
and
reaching out. And again, thanks for doing this. I love that you're kind of bringing people closer in the community. I know you mentioned it in the last conversation. It's the people you meet has also been really cool, man. I feel like if it wasn't for this, we probably would have never met.
yeah,
I love that you brought
yeah,
us here.
I agree. We're from totally different worlds, yet we have so much in common
Yep.
beyond the comics, the music, and everything else. And yeah, I think going to Heroes Con is always like a cool little reunion with a small group of us. So
Oh yeah, I joke with my wife that it's adult summer camp. I feel like it's that one time a year that it's not a week long summer camp, but a few days where you get to see your friends from all over the country, all over the world, all in one place, and just kind of share and have fun.
I completely agree. So, all right. Thanks, George. And folks, thanks for tuning in. And feel free to subscribe below and comment and let us know if you have any thoughts and, give us reason to keep doing these conversations. So with that said, George, I'll see you soon.
Thanks, buddy.